The quote that I'd like to talk about today is as follows. I do not understand how one can walk by a tree and not be happy at the sight of it, or speak to another man and not be happy in loving him. There are so many things at every step, so beautiful. This was a quote by a 19th century Russian literature author named Fyodor Dostoevsky, a man who is considered to be one of the greatest authors of all time, and a man who, like many great artists, lived a very difficult life. In the mid-19th century, he was condemned by the Russian Tsar to 10 years of hard labor in Siberia, where he broke rock with a sledgehammer every day of his life. Following this, he had a cloth put over his face and a gun pointed to his head, where he was asked whether or not there was anything that he'd like to say. Shortly after this, the executioner removed the cloth and told him that the new Russian Tsar had dismissed him of his suffering and that he was a free man. And it was after this where Dostoevsky actually wrote some of his greatest works, one of these being a book called The Idiot, which is the book where this quote comes from. Dostoevsky entertained these ideas of human morality, human psychology, and human religion to such an extent where these quotes were very common in a lot of his writing. I think what this quote aimed to show is that humans have become so separated from their natural environment, but more importantly, humans become so separated from themselves. And although Dostoevsky does not necessarily go into the reasons as to why this is in this particular quote, he does dissect this in the book as a whole. And he simply comes to the conclusion that Western science has led us down this path of asking questions that we perhaps should not be asking. And it's giving answers that lead us to segregate ourselves from nature and from man. I'm in Thailand now speaking to you, where just a couple days ago I was in the jungle with a woman who I was staying with. And I commented on how remarkable it was that these people seemed to find such peace in the jungle. And she said, of course they do. They live here. This is their home. This is how they get food. This is them, essentially. And they were all working together in very intricate patterns in order to gather food and gather shelter. And she told me that this is not common in Bangkok, though, the largest city here in Thailand, where animals are shoved in cages and sold on the street just so people can make money, and where people have become so separated from nature and from themselves that this jungle that is so important to these people, have become nothing. This illustrates Dostoevsky's quote to a T, in that we have become so consumed with this modernization and with wealth that we forget the environment and the people of which we are a part. And I'm afraid that if we continue down the path that we have, then Dostoevsky's dissatisfaction and non-understanding will continue to persist. Which is why, yes, I speak to you as an audience. But more importantly, this should be something that the audience of all of us should be listening to. Thank you.